Thank you for joining us to review the Tarion application process for freehold and contract homes. Please note that the information contained in this video is general in nature and does not take into account any particular requirements or circumstances involved in a specific application. When you are ready to apply to Tarion, you should first review the written version of Registrar Bulletin 10 located on Tarion's website, which details the complete application process. If any information conflicts with the Ontario New Home Warranties Plan Act or associated regulations, vendor builder agreements, or registrar bulletins, the latter sources prevail. Effective February 1st, 2021, the Home Construction Regulatory Authority, or the HCRA, assumed Tarion's previous role of licensing new home vendors and builders. This means that a person who plans to build or sell a new home in Ontario must be licensed by the HCRA, and that the HCRA is responsible for granting new licenses and renewing existing licenses. In addition to licensing, the HCRA is also responsible for investigating honesty and integrity complaints made about vendors and builders' conduct and includes illegal building practices. The HCRA also manages and maintains the Ontario Builder Directory. Tarion continues to administer the warranty claims process and backstop vendors' warranties where they fail to resolve warranty claims. Tarion is also responsible for authorizing construction and sales plans of licensed vendors and builders via the Qualification for Enrollment, or QFE, and enrollment processes of homes in the Ontario New Home Warranty and Protection Plan, and we will review this process in this video. Before you can apply to Tarion for Qualification for Enrollment to build and sell specific homes, you will first need to have a valid license with the HCRA. Once you have your license, you can apply to Tarion. Even though you cannot apply to Tarion before having your license in place, Tarion is happy to provide guidance to any applicant who is in the process of achieving their HCRA license. You can contact Tarion and we will walk you through the application process, provide the documents that you'll need to complete, and we'll give you a sense of what you can expect while going through the application process. Generally speaking, for a freehold application, you may need to provide the Tarion application document, which will feature a series of risk-based questions, the types of homes you wish to build and sell, the location of the homes, the size of the homes, and financial questions, the standard vendor and builder agreements, a third-party financial guarantor, which in most cases will be required to complete a personal net worth statement and provide the supplemental documents to substantiate the assets that they're indicating on that statement, as well as a new guarantee and indemnity agreement, and financial information, including statements for the applicant, are also required. As of February 1st, 2021, Tarion requires new vendor or builder agreements, as well as new guarantee and indemnity agreements, even if you were licensed previously. These documents have been modified to reflect Tarion's new role, and we always encourage individuals to review them with their lawyer prior to signing. On a case-by-case basis, we may require additional information to assess the application, and when we speak with you individually, we will get a better sense of what we may require. Once the application has been submitted to Tarion, we will take all the information provided and conduct a risk assessment that focuses on three main areas. The first key area that we will focus on is financial strength, which is having the ability to complete the project that's being proposed. For example, access to capital, what type of equity there is falls between you and the guarantor, and if there are any other assets to capital, what type of equity there is, basically how you will finance the build. Also, what is our assessment of what equity or assets that will be available to meet warranty obligations? Next is the technical piece, which is not to be confused with the HCRA process. As part of the HCRA licensing process, they conduct some technical due diligence, and they're looking at builder education in a general sense. But what we're looking at is whether we believe you have the experience to construct the specific type of homes you're proposing, which may require a different skill set. So for example, it takes different project management skills to manage a 300 home project versus a small project. We also look at your history, which may include any Tarion history that we have recorded, such as past builder performance, any other experience outside of Tarion, for example, any past construction experience, maybe renovations, and in some cases we may consider such experience, if we're able to, inspect or conduct walkthroughs for other projects you've built. We can also conduct reference checks to gauge previous client satisfaction in previously built projects. These would be assessed on a case-by-case basis and would only be feasible and add value if within Ontario. We have on occasion interacted with some other home construction authorities across the country to better understand your construction experience, which is another resource available. For example, if you built in Quebec, we may get a statement from or do a reference check with the Quebec authority. An interview may be required if you don't have any recent Tarion history, for example, if you're brand new and haven't built residential homes in Ontario yet, or if it's been several years since you've had an active license. This is because of all the changes that have taken place at Tarion, as well as the changes to the Ontario Building Code. We also want to gauge your construction knowledge and what type of construction activities or areas you've been engaged in the last few years. If there's been a change in control within your organization, or in other words, we've relied on the expertise of an individual that is no longer part of your organization, we may want to reassess the expertise that remains within the organization, or for any other reason we may have concerns about, we may wish to speak with you based on your past history. If an interview is required, you will be notified early in the process. Once the application's been submitted and reviewed, an interview will be scheduled if one is required. It's important to note that this may add additional time onto the application process. How long it takes to process an application is largely dependent on how long it takes to collect all the required documentation from you, and so we rely on you to partner with us to provide us with that documentation so that we may continue to process your application. Once everything's been done, we're ready to issue the letter. Before we review the terms and conditions letters, we wanted to review how Tarion defines what a freehold agreement of purchase and sale is and what a freehold contract home is. A freehold agreement of purchase and sale home is a single family built home built under Part 9 of the Ontario Building Code that is not tied to a vacant land condominium or a common elements condominium corporation, where the vendor builder owns the land, constructs the home, and sells the home via a freehold agreement of purchase and sale. A freehold contract home is a single family home also built under Part 9 of the Ontario Building Code that is not tied to a vacant land condominium or a common elements condominium corporation, where the purchaser owns the land and contracts with a licensed vendor builder to construct the home under a construction contract. In these cases, under the Ontario New Home Warranties Plan Act, the builder that is building the home is also considered the vendor in terms of the warranty obligations. The builder of the contract home must also be licensed as a vendor, even though there is no sale per se. The vendor is the entity that has the primary warranty obligations, and in those cases, even though the builder is technically just building the home under contract with the purchaser, they are considered a vendor under the Act, so they have warranty responsibilities towards that home in the same way that a vendor who is selling under a freehold purchase agreement that we just talked about. The application and process for both freehold APS and freehold contract homes have some similarities and differences, which we'll review now. For freehold agreement of purchase and sale homes, Registrar Bulletin 10FH contains a detailed overview of this process and can be found on our website, tarion.com. Vendors and builders are encouraged to review this bulletin in its entirety. Once we've fully reviewed the application, Tarion will send you the terms and conditions that you must satisfy to sell and build the homes. It's important to note that as of February 1st, 2021, the terms and conditions are sent in a letter called a Notice of Proposal of Conditions that outlines the requirements that you must meet to begin to sell and build the homes proposed on your application, as well as requirements that you must continue to meet throughout the life cycle of the project. The life cycle of a project for a freehold agreement of purchase and sale home is from the time the conditions are accepted by the vendor up until the home is closed with title transferred to the purchaser, which is the warranty start date. Once you satisfy those conditions, Tarion will issue a written confirmation, QFE confirmation, before you can commence sales, and that is to offer or agree to sell a home. A second written confirmation, enrollment confirmation, will be issued before you can commence construction. It's important to know that the terms and conditions letters outlines the conditions only, and it is not confirmation from Tarion to sell and build. In order to sell and build, a vendor must have written confirmation from Tarion to do so. These confirmations are provided by Tarion only after all conditions are met. In general, The Freehold Agreement of Purchase and Sale Home Terms and Conditions letter is different than it looked previous to February 1st, in that we no longer require a sign back. Previously, when we issued our letters, there was a requirement for the vendor to accept the letter by signing it back to us in order for the application to be processed. The new letters function a little bit differently now. Once the terms are issued, if the vendor disagrees with any of the conditions, they can call Tarion and we can explain it or talk them through it. However, a vendor will have 15 days to formally appeal the conditions through the License Appeal Tribunal. If the terms and conditions are not appealed by the 15-day deadline, it is considered that the vendor has accepted the conditions, so it's very important that Tarion has the correct underwriting contact information on file. Another way to accept the terms and conditions, if you wish to expedite the process and don't want to wait the 15 days, is you can send us an email from a signing officer to say you've accepted the terms and conditions, and then we'll proceed, provided that any outlined terms and conditions have been met. The new terms and conditions letters are also structured somewhat differently than they were prior to February 1st. The terms and conditions letters still define the parameters around which one can build and sell, so things like the number of homes and security requirements will still be featured within the letter. However, the new Freehold Agreement of Purchase and Sale letter is now categorized into 3 groups, which are the Qualification for Enrollment Conditions, or QFE conditions, the enrollment conditions, and lastly, the specified conditions. The QFE conditions are any conditions that must be met before commencement of sales. The enrollment conditions are conditions that must be met before construction commences. And the specified conditions are conditions that must be met throughout the life cycle of the project, which is from when the conditions are accepted by the vendor up until the home is closed and there is a warranty start date. An example of this is our annual reviews, including financial history, performance, etc. There is no confirmation for specified terms and conditions because it's expected that a vendor will keep performing these conditions throughout sales, construction, and until closing. So it's not a one and done type of thing like posting security where we can give a vendor a confirmation after posting security. Again, we want to remind you that it's important to note that the letter outlines the conditions and it is not confirmation. In order to sell and build, a vendor needs to have confirmation from Tarion to do so. Once you achieve QFE and once those conditions are met, Tarion will give confirmation and then you can commence sales. Once you achieve the enrollment confirmation, Tarion will give you confirmation and you can start building. In rare cases where a home is being built before being sold, the QFE conditions may not be required. If that is your intent, please contact Tarion to discuss, as it may be worthwhile applying for the QFE anyway, in the event that the circumstances change, which will give you more flexibility. We're now going to review the terms and conditions for contract homes. Registrar Bulletin 10-CH, also available on Tarion's website, contains a detailed overview of this process, and all vendors and builders are encouraged to review this bulletin in its entirety. For freehold contract homes, the process is a little different from freehold agreement of purchase and sale homes. Here is the main distinction. Because contract homes do not involve a sale per se, that is, there is no agreement of purchase and sale, QFE confirmation is not required. Similarly, there are no QFE conditions. Instead, you must satisfy the enrollment conditions to obtain enrollment confirmation, which is your authorization to offer a construction contract to an owner of land and enter the construction contract. The specified conditions typically outline the requirement that within 30 days of entering the construction contract, you must contact Tarion to provide information about the construction contract and pay the required enrollment fees and security. You may not commence construction until you satisfy the relevant specified conditions. Here's a breakdown of the process. First, an application to build contract homes. When you apply, you will need to give us an idea of the number of contract homes you're planning to build and have not entered into contract yet. We wouldn't collect securities at this point for the most part, unless there are extenuating circumstances. Generally speaking, we would underwrite the application based on the estimate provided. Tarion will then issue a notice of proposal of conditions outlining the terms and conditions that you must satisfy to proceed with the homes. We want to reiterate that these letters are only the conditions, not confirmation, and only when all conditions have been met will confirmation be granted, and then you can commence construction. You may not commence construction until you satisfy these requirements. If you do not appeal the Notice of Proposal of Conditions, Tarion will issue enrollment confirmation, which authorizes you to offer or enter into a construction contract. Enrollment confirmation does not authorize you to commence construction because there will be a specified condition requiring that you must return to Tarion to provide information about the construction contract, enrollment fees, and security prior to commencing construction. Finally, once you have returned to Tarion to provide information about the contract, security, and enrollment fees, and have enrolled the home in BuilderLink, you may commence construction. If your construction plans change, for example, the number of homes you wish to build changes, you'll need to submit a new application. Previously, upon issuance of a building permit or 30 days prior to construction, a vendor was required to enroll the homes. However, under the new legislation, a freehold home can be enrolled anytime before construction commences. Enrollments can be submitted via BuilderLink, which you can do today. All enrollments will be reviewed by Tarion to ensure that the vendor had obtained QFE confirmation if applicable or has met all the conditions. If all conditions are met and all fees paid, Tarion will provide the vendor with the enrollment confirmation, which will be the new enrollment confirmation, certificate of completion and possession, and warranty certificate. Once you've obtained enrollment confirmation, you can proceed to build the homes. Where the vendor and the builder are separate entities who plan to work together to sell and build a home, the vendor may apply the previous steps to obtain the approval to sell and build. If you are licensed only as a vendor, you will be asked to provide information about the builder who will be building the proposed homes. The builder in this case must also be licensed with the HCRA. Again, both parties must sign the applicable vendor and builder agreements with Tarion. The vendor should submit the application to Tarion, and the terms and conditions will be issued to the vendor. Only the vendor can sell the home, that is, enter into purchase agreements and subsequently transfer title, and only the builder can perform the construction of the home and act as the builder throughout the course of construction. If you have any questions about the Tarion application process, please contact our underwriting team and we will be happy to assist you. We are always available to help answer any questions or concerns you may have.